It's review time in World of Tanks with your host, Dangerously Incompetent, the Hetzer Tier 4 German tank destroyer. Now, the last few World of Tank reviews I've done have been a bit negative, a bit of a downer, so I wanted to do a more cheerful, upbeat one, and I remembered the Hetzer being a great tank, fun to play, effective. And looking back at my stats, I find I did, 59% win rate. Not bad at all. But then, that was 2 years ago. I was a complete noob, so 59% is really impressive. But, it's been 2 years. How has the Hetzer fared through time? Watch the rest of my review to find out. Starting with armour, 60 mils of armour on the front. And that's top and bottom, and look at it, nicely sloped. That armour's great. Weak spots are tiny and inconsequential, so the armour from the front, great. From the side, 20 mils, even sloped, that's poor. If you want more details, see my weak spot guide, but overall I would rate the armour as great. Mobility. I remember the Hetzer being pretty nippy. But then I was playing it coming from lower tier vehicles when back in the day when I first played it. Now I've played tier 10s and I played the E25 and this doesn't seem so fast at all. Track traverse, that's pretty good. That's pretty decent. That will keep your front and your gun pointing towards those pesky light tanks as they try to circle a death you and you turn on the spot trying to keep up. So you're all right there, but engine power, specific power 13.18, that's bad. And that's with a top engine. It is really slow. It says 42 kilometers an hour top speeds, and yeah, you can do that on the flat, on a road with some run up. But starting when you're poking out to try to get a shot or trying to get away from someone, trying to maneuver away from someone, nah, it's no good. And going up hills, that's just really painful. So I would have to say the mobility is okay. Its engine power cripples it, but its track traverse saves it. Guns. Let's have a look at the other stats. Not my rate of fire, that changes with the different types of gun. Gun traverse speed, 44, well it's only wiggling the barrel around, isn't it? Ah, that's fine. Elevation, well -8 degrees means it is just about usable crest fighting. And of course when you're crest fighting your rear is lower than your front, provided you don't present your lower hull, which you would be doing at a more perpendicular angle to their shots, but if you only expose your top, that's it sloped even more for even greater armour, so crest fighting is a possibility in this tank. Now the traverse, that's a weak spot. Well, not a weak spot, but a weakness. Only 20 degrees of gun traverse, which is not a lot, especially given you've got no turret. So as soon as you go outside, you try and look outside its gun traverse arc, the tracks will automatically turn, and your accuracy drops like a stone. So get used to pressing the X key to lock your tracks in place when you're sitting there trying to snipe a shot, so that you don't inadvertently move your tracks and lose your accuracy. And even funnier, it's lopsided. It's 5 degrees of traverse to the left and then 15 degrees to the right. So when you're trying to shoot things that are on your left, you really will turn your tracks an awful lot more than you would expect. The guns themselves, you've got two options really. You've got the 75mm and then you've got the 105mm. There's two 75mm, the second one is just a little bit better. It's got a bit more accuracy. Let's have a look. Yeah, a bit more accuracy, a little bit more penetration. Nice to have, but not essential, and it's a bit heavier. Then you've got 105mm gun. This is where the hilarity is. This is a derp gun. Look at that damage on high explosive. 410 as opposed to 175 or 110 with your regular ammo, because you don't tend to use the high explosive, do you? 53mm of penetration. That's quite good for a derp gun at tier 4, but compared to your regular guns, it's not much penetration at all. But if you do manage to penetrate with this thing, and it goes bang in either their armor piercing round, or the high explosive round, or the heat one, it's boom, goodbye tier, any tier 4 tank you manage to penetrate. However, there come the downsides. Rate of fire, very poor. Accuracy, very poor. Aiming time's okay. So the 105mm total derp gun, not very reliable, but it can be hilarious. Turn round the corner, boom, derp someone in the face and they're dead. Or alternatively, turn round the corner, derp at them, and your shot sails over their turret, and they laugh at you and proceed to butcher you before you can reload. 75mm gun. This is reliable, it is accurate, it is fast firing, it does good penetration, reasonable damage, good accuracy, reasonable aiming time. Very reliable gun when you aim it in, very accurate, lovely gun for sniping. That's where you're going to get your win rate, I reckon, most of the time. The accuracy and reliability of the 75mm gun. So remember, 105mm derp for hilarity, 75mm for regularity. That's the guns. Camouflage. It's a TD. It's a small TD. It's a short TD. Its camouflage is pretty good, as you would expect. What other things have we got to worry about? We've done mobility, we've done traverse, we've done some speed. Oh, view range. View range. Yes. A while ago, most tank destroyers got hit with the Nerf bat on their view range, stopped them spotting for themselves, and the Hetzer really suffered. Its view range is appalling. Even with 100% crew, 100% commander, and slapping in the binocular telescopes, you can get to 325. Well, that's what your tier 4 mediums are running around with without any improvements. So you're going to get outspotted a lot of the time unless you're really careful about camouflaging yourselves up in a bush and looking at areas where the enemy has no soft cover to hide behind. View range bad. Oh, equipment. What equipment would I use? Here you can see my setup for the 75mm gun. Binoculars, camouflage netting, gun laying drive. This is the sniper loadout rather. If your commander is not at 100% yet, I wouldn't bother with binocular telescopes. I'd put in vents or maybe a gun rammer instead, because it's only when you've got 100% commander that you actually get anywhere near the chance of actually using that spotting range, using the telescopes. And you remember, you've got to be stationary for at least 5 seconds before these things will start working. So it's when you're sniping, that's the only time you get to using. If you choose to go for the hilarity of the 105mm gun, then I would recommend vents, because you want to get that initial aim to be as accurate as possible. And instead of camo netting, I'll go for gun rammer. Why? Because at long distances your derp gun is not accurate enough to get hits. When you're going with the derp gun for the hilarity, you're running around, coming around corners trying to get to people and derp them in the face, and have your platoon mates derp them in the face as well, so that hopefully they're dead before they get to shoot you. Skills. Camouflage, if you're going sniping with a 75mm. Sixth Sense, if you're going hilarity with the derp gun, don't worry about the camouflage. Go instead for things like, where's his skills? skills. Snapshot, that's it. Improved accuracy during turn. So you turn around and your reticule doesn't bloom as much. You retain some of your accuracy. You lose less accuracy when you're moving around. And then smooth ride. That also improves your accuracy whilst you're on the move. Essential if you're going derping. Not so essential if you're going sniping. And of course, Brothers in Arms is always useful and will help you get down that make your initial inaccuracy less. Not so important when you're sniping. Free XP. How would I spend my free XP? I would not go for the derp gun at the start. I wouldn't even go for the second 75mm gun first. I would go for improving your engine first, because the bottom stock engine is absolutely awful. When you've got the top engine fitted, it's still not enough. It's not fast enough. It's not doesn't accelerate at all well. And the stock engine is 100 horsepower compared to the top engine of 220. You need the engine because this mobility is a weak spot when you're fully upgraded. With the 100 horsepower engine, it's absolutely crippling. So free XP, you weigh up the engine, so you'll probably need to upgrade your tracks as well. And after you've got those two, then choose your gun. Choose your derp or choose your accuracy, and then do the radio. How to play this tank? Well, there's two styles of play, depending on which gun you got fitted. The hilarity of the derp gun, I wouldn't recommend doing this on your own. What you want is a platoon, and I remember that's how we used to play back in the day. How happy memories. Run around in a platoon, stick together, rush around the corner, find the enemy. One of us would derp him. If that killed him, all well and good. If it didn't, if he missed or he didn't quite finish him off, the second one probably would finish him off, and that's how we got a good win rate. 75mm gun for the reliability. It's super accurate. You go sniping. Your mobility isn't great, so you don't want to get up close and personal. And with the 75mm gun, you don't have to. You can shoot at a distance. You can penetrate. You can hit those weak spots, even on tier 6 tanks, and penetrate them at a distance. And that's what you do, and that's what you can do reliably, and that's what will give you a good win rate. How did I do? Well, as I believe I mentioned at the start, when I first played this, I managed a 59% win rate. That was back in the day. This time round, I tried the derp gun first, and I only managed 50% win rate. Then I switched to the 75mm, and I managed to get my win rate up to 63%. Well, for the period I was running with the 75mm. Okay, with the derp gun, I didn't have 100% crew, and I didn't have the camouflage, but I think most of it is in the gun. This 75mm gun is this tank destroyer's main strength. It's its big strength. So I would recommend sniping with the 75mm gun. That's what you want to do with this tank. Overall, I would give this tank thumbs up. It's not an overpowered tank. It's not a delight to drive, but it is a good, solid sniping TD.